Welcome back to the Bald Guys of Bankruptcy. Rich and I are both still bald.
Balder than ever.
Today we're going to do an update episode. For those of you that missed some of our previous episodes, you should go back and check out the 23andMe episode. We're going to be doing a brief update on where we're at with that bankruptcy.
Let's do a quick summary of 23andMe. You know, when we met last time, initially we discussed what led to their bankruptcy, what sort of problems they had. It was declining demand in the product. When it came out, there was a big rush to go do these DNA tests, and that kind of simmered down a little bit. And then unfortunately for the company and then for those involved, there was a big data breach in 2023. Consumer confidence in the product after that just plummeted. No one wanted to try it anymore. It was too risky. So there were a lot of privacy concerns. Business went down. They led to bankruptcy.
So what's happened now? Like where are we at with this company?
So where we left off, there was a bidding process for a sale. Since we last met, that sale's been concluded. So the court approved bidding procedures. There was a back and forth between Regeneron Pharmaceuticals and the prior CEO of 23andMe, Ann Wojcicki. I apologize, Ann, if I mispronounce your name. My name's Postiglione. Most people don't say my name correctly either. But it was her and her nonprofit TTAM Research. There was a bidding war between those two for the company. Initially, Regeneron bid $256 million. They thought they had it because Ann's initial bid was $146 million. So they cleared it by a mile. She countered. She came back with $305 million. So Regeneron was considering countering, but they wanted a $10 million breakup fee. And they didn't get it, so they didn't counter.
Is it surprising at all that we saw big jumps?
I was a little surprised. Yeah, honestly. They must really value the company, obviously a lot higher than that. The big jumps, if there were smaller bids in between, it's possible. I don't see record of that, but it's possible there was conversations about it. But it happens, and Ann was the successful bidder.
You're surprised to see the big jumps, but walk me through this a little bit more, how this auction process would work. Like you would normally think it's like 140, 141, 142, 143. Like how does this function?
You have to submit bids ahead of time.
How did this play out with the data breach? I imagine if you're bidding on an asset like this, right, that had a huge data breach that drastically impacts the value. Was that a dead issue or was that involved in this?
No, that issue is very much alive, and actually that's being dealt with within the plan. There's a settlement between the U.S. and Canadian claimants. I think there's a fund of about $30 million for the United States claimants and about $3.25 for the Canadians. So that's in the plan. Well, they'll receive a payout for that. The plan's now with the judge. It's under advisement, so there's no update yet on if it's approved or not, but that is part of the plan that has been dealt with. On Ann's end, and just taking this back to the bidding process, there were a lot of concerns that if a third party came in and purchased it, that they would then sell off all this data. And a lot of the consumers were nervous about that. Ann and her company promised not to do that. They're going to comply with the original privacy policy of 23andMe, and they actually added additional security measures. So they're going to give like identity theft protection for 2 years, and they're going to have an advisory board. So going forward, there really shouldn't be any concerns about that. But in terms of the plan and the people who were part of the breach, there should be a payout.
Well, you just said there about Ann and the winning bidder agreeing to kind of step up their focus on data protection. That makes sense for customers of 23andMe. Does that factor in to them winning the bid? Like I realize here they bid way more money, so they win. But like would a trustee say, you are the higher bidder, but I don't like how you're going to run this company?
No, it plays into the judge approving the sale. So the judge is going to say, okay, you're going to comply with these privacy policies. I see that you added these additional measures. I'm comfortable approving the sale. If it was going to be, hey, I'm going to buy this, now I'm going to sell everything off, the judge might not approve that. So I think it aided in the sale in that respect, and that should receive court approval.
Let's just focus for a second here on what you just said about if the plan was to sell the data, the judge may not approve that. Is that because that's bad for the public? Because
public policy. Yeah.
So public policy would factor into who the winning bidder is going to be.
I think so, absolutely.
Because you could see how if they sell the data, maybe they make a ton of money and they would bid more on the asset.
I don't know if the timing would work out in that regard. They would have to purchase it first and then sell it.
But a judge in this situation could say, you're the winning bidder, but you have a purpose that I don't love. Therefore, I'm not going to approve the sale.
I can see that happening. Yeah, definitely.
Just procedurally in the bankruptcy, where are we right now?
So the fourth amended plan has been proposed. It's with the judge now under advisement for approval. It includes everything we just discussed. It also includes, they sold off, they had a telehealth company, 23andMe, it's called Lemonade, AID, kind of funny. That's being sold off as well to another company, so that's part of the plan. And that's where we are now. So we'll see, we'll follow up to see if the court approves the plan or not.
Okay, so if this plan is approved, we're done with this case. Is that fair to say?
It'll wind down after that.
Bald guys, bald guys, bald guys of bankruptcy. Bald guys, bald guys, bald guys of bankruptcy.